Welcome to Plastic Model Mojo, a podcast dedicated to scale modeling, as well as the news and events around the hobby, where we hope to be informative and entertaining and help you keep your modeling mojo alive. All right, Dave, it's the last episode of the year, man. Episode 80. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. I mean, did you ever think we'd hit 80? Hell, it's amazing.
Been a long time, brother.
I know.
Well, holidays aside, what's up in your model sphere?
Holidays are part of it. It just, as I've referred to in past podcasts, I refer to Thanksgiving to New Year as the dark time, and that I don't get much modeling or modeling related stuff done. This past 2 weeks, I was occupied with other things, buying gifts, wrapping gifts, scrambling to arrange and rearrange Christmas plans, though not as bad as you were. But I did get modeling related stuff done. I spent a fair amount of time talking to modelers by text or DM or stuff like that. I did get some modeling done and planning, a long planned modeling acquisition is in the near term future, thanks to the way the Christmas holiday broke. So
all right,
my model sphere's getting energized, and I can't wait for the new year. How about you?
A lot of the same, man. I've been busy with the holiday stuff, but we've managed to have a good one thus far and got plans for New Year's. So plans helps.
So your plan for New Year's is for your wife to go to bed early and you to be down at the modeling bench, really knocking it out to start the year, right?
Probably not, but maybe New Year's Day that will be what's going on.
There you go.
I tell you, something in the model sphere just happened tonight, actually.
Uh-oh, what?
And it kind of interesting. My wife has, through the passing of her uncle Thomas several years ago, and then her parents downsizing, and then her brother moving, and she's acquired all these boxes of stuff that are just troves of family photographs and memorabilia from her grandmother.
Yeah.
Now, her grandmother was a WAC attached to, I think, the 9th Air Force.
Oh, really?
And met her grandfather over there in theater, and he was in one of the airborne units, not like the 101st or the 82nd, but like, gosh, I can't remember. It's a Dragon's Head. It's
17th Airborne.
Airborne Corps, actually.
Right.
Attached to a field artillery unit that was in support of the 101st, and he was at Bastogne. Anyway, they got married in France and all that stuff. But anyway, she's on the couch while we're watching a movie and starts handing me all this stuff, her pay book, her enlistment card, all this other stuff. And then she hands me this photograph, and it is a crew in front of with their feet up on a bomb. The bomb says "With Love," and behind them is a B-26 Marauder, just forward of the engine nacelles, so you can see the hip guns on it, and
right,
and the nose turret and the nose art.
Yeah.
Now, this B-26 is the Rock Hill Special.
Okay.
And I jumped online as soon as she had me this photograph. And coincidentally, our buddy Inchai, Jeff Groves, in one of his blog posts, put out a bunch of color B-26 photographs.
Yep.
Photographs around that bomber group. And there's a different photograph, almost the same pose, in color, on his website of this exact aircraft.
Really?
Yeah. So now I'm really curious what was the fate of this aircraft.
There's a real good B-26 kit, man. 72nd scale.
Well, according to Jeff's website, this is a C model.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what that means versus the available kits.
Little harder to get there, but not impossible.
Well, so anyway, fun stuff. I'm going to...
You need to post that photo.
I'll rephoto or scan it and put it up on the dojo and see what comes of it, because it's a really cool picture.
You know, one of the great things that concerns me with the passing of that generation and these families getting all of this stuff and not realizing maybe the historical value of it. I know there are photographs out there of things that modelers would look and go, I've never seen that before. That's a variation that, you know, and I know you troll German eBay all the time looking for the photos from mostly German soldiers. But I mean, just think of how much that has contributed to our knowledge of all of the German and Russian equipment. And I worry that there's a similar trove that that's going to disappear in the U.S.
Well, it'll probably surface somehow eventually. A lot of it will.
I hope so. I hope it just, I mean...
What percentage? I don't know, but...
yeah. I have nightmares about people throwing their grandfather's World War II photographs away.
Well, also in the model sphere, let's talk about what we got going on tonight. We're trying something new tonight, and I don't know if anybody's listening yet because I don't see anybody in the audience, but we're trying a little call-in feature tonight. So Dave and I are just going to work our way through the standard format, and if people show up, we'll get them on and have a few words and move along and work our way through the outline, as I just said. And if we get through it, we get through it. If we don't, we don't, and that'll be okay. But hopefully we hear from a few people.
And one of the things is that, you know, we talked about the change to software that we went to, which is the current software we're using, and the expense of doing it and all. And one of the reasons that really Mike wanted to go to this software feature, in addition to making editing a little easier for him, is the fact that it has this feature. And since it has it, we're going to try it out. This is the first time we've done this. And we're going to kind of work without a net and see what happens.
And we communicated that to kick off about 9:15, and it's 9:11 by my computer. And so we'll see what happens, Dave.
Okay. Well, this wouldn't be episode 80. Actually, it wouldn't be any episode without a modeling fluid. Did Santa bring you modeling fluid?
I don't know if Santa did. My mother-in-law did.
Well, okay. She can stand in.
Oh, excuse me. She got me a bottle of Michter's Kentucky Straight Bourbon.
Oh, nice stuff.
Yeah, this is a pretty good one. I think I've had it on here before, but...
have you had the Michter's before? I don't remember.
It's been a long time, because I know I haven't bought a bottle in well over a year.
One of these days, I am going to go through all 80 episodes and listen to the first 10 minutes of each one, just to create an Excel spreadsheet with all of the different modeling fluids, just to keep track of them.
Well, what about you, my friend?
Well, yeah, I got a modeling fluid, and
it's a beer.
Yes,
or
it is.
Or maybe a cider.
No, it's a beer. This is Atomic Amber from Apocalypse Brew Works, and it's out of Louisville, Kentucky, believe it or not. I've never heard of this place, never heard of this microbrewery. I was shocked when Apocalypse Brew Works turns out to be a local. It's an amber. It's it is your classic American beer, but it seems to have a little more body. So I'm going to enjoy this during the episode, and at the end of the episode, we'll talk about how it turned out.
Well, I've got a sticker from Apocalypse on my spray booth, and I don't remember where I got it.
Do you really? I wonder where the heck it's located.
Well, it's in Louisville, Dave.
Yeah. Oh, down in Melwood, down in New Lou. I'm sure I've probably driven by it before, but I like the label. I like the name, and so I took a shot. Santa or his elves actually managed to provide me with a bunch of new beers and a couple of bourbons that I've never had before, and so those will be on upcoming episodes.
All right. Well, Dave, we got a fair amount of listener mail. Not too much. I think the season kind of slowed it down a little bit.
Sure.
But I'm high tech, man. I've actually got 2 computers rolling tonight.
Oh, my gosh.
We've got a lot going on.
Yeah, if we could just get modeling going on.
That's right. Well, we got it going on.
Yeah, I know.
First up tonight, Dave, is Gordon Sorensen from Saint-Remy, Quebec, from Canada. Now, he's the one who gave us the Canadian maple whiskey at Nationals.
I remember that.
Now, since we featured it, we were kind of perplexed. We'll put it that way, as to the best way to enjoy that.
Yes, because it had a very strong maple flavor and thus was pretty darn sweet.
Well, it's undergone a redemption.
Okay.
My wife tried it in her coffee.
Yeah.
And now the volume in that bottle is trending down. So
that's a great idea. Man, you've got a smart wife, man.
I guess so. So, if another bottle happened our way, it would not go to waste. Well, he sent a topic for our Wheel of Conversation, Wheel of Doom, or whatever we end up deciding to call it. Yep. And we'll keep that under the cuff for now. But he also wants to give a shout out to Chris from Obscurico Aircraft.
Oh, okay.
And what did he do here? Let's see. He wanted to pick up their F-100 wing set they offer, but he was out of stock. I don't know if he meant he was out of stock at Nationals or if he was just out of stock later. It sounds like at Nationals he was
probably at Nationals because Chris brings a limited supply.
Yeah, so Gordon mentioned it, and he wanted to buy it because it makes sense now. He was wanting to avoid the shipping cost.
Right.
It sounds like Chris from Obscurico.
Obscurico, it's hard to say.
Obscurico has actually sent him a set of these wings.
Well, Chris is I've known Chris a long time. Chris is the editor of the IPMS USA Journal, along with John Heck. He and John do a lot to make that magazine the quality product that it is. And Chris is a really good guy. And Chris has also authored several aircraft-related books. I highly recommend any of them. And he also ended up doing some consulting for, was it Steven Spielberg on the movie Red Tails, which, yes, I know the movie, but Chris had a lot of knowledge about the Tuskegee Airmen that he was able to provide the movie makers. Now, their use of it was not, he had no control over that. But Chris is a good guy. He makes some real quality stuff. I mean, he is the definition of a cottage industry because he makes whatever strikes his fancy, usually because he makes a master for his own use. And then he casts it and makes it available to the rest of us. So, I'm not surprised he got that kind of service from Chris.
Up next is Mike Stucker, and he gives us a little correction from episode 79. We were talking about the Cubus kit from Mirage, the obscure little armored car.
Yes.
And he says that kit's actually not new. It came out in 2014.
Oh, okay.
And I think Chris Medding mentioned that to me in a private message as well. Yes, it's kind of an austere kit. Let's just call it that.
Austere. I like that. Well, you know what? That is back when I got back into modeling in 1982, 83. I could literally tell you pretty much every kit out there and who produced what and when it came out. And, there were a couple of new kits every year, 3 or 4, the explosion of stuff out there. It runs by. In fact, we were talking about this. Tamiya announced it's a Stug 4, right? A Lang?
Jagdpanzer 4.
Jagdpanzer 4.
Yes.
That announcement just blew completely by not only me, I forget who the other person, it was Ian we were talking with.
Well,
Ian.
And me.
Yeah, had completely missed the announcement.
Well, it's their lack of pomp and circumstance around their kit announcements.
Yes, that's right.
Usually you have the something physical besides a photograph of a period photograph, which is typically what Tamiya does. That's all you get. Yeah, hey, we're going to do this year. Here's a photograph of what we're talking about.
But it just, so something comes back out as a reissue, I'm if I haven't heard of it before, it's easy for me to make the mistake and think that it's a brand new kit.
Well, I saw Brian Dinklau cruise through for a split second, but I couldn't get him on before it went away. So, Brian, if you're out there still, go out and try it again. We could have a bandwidth problem from all the other stuff going on in my house. So who knows?
Go unplug the Xbox. That'll solve it.
Well, this one showed up on the dojo. This is David Waples from, where's he from? 303 area code.
That's Denver.
That's the Denver area.
Assuming that he actually is in that area code.
Now, this was about his UV paint booth. And I think the consensus was that UV was not a cure mechanism for most of our hobby paints.
Right.
So that's possibly a lot of work for nothing. Unless he gets into 3D printing, then it'd be great to have a 3D cure station.
Yeah.
Other than that, I put him onto the food dehydrators. That's what started that whole conversation.
Right.
Because I found a really good video. The guy found a really good one. So you could take all the trays out and have varying height shelves in there to do all kinds of stuff. But as you alluded to, at your pace and my pace, that's the least of our concern. Yes. Is how long it takes the paint to dry.
Dust is a bigger challenge than the paint drying quickly enough for me. So, yeah, I have never been tempted to attempt to force the paint to dry quicker.
Oh, man. So, David, I think you can save yourself a lot of work. Dave Waples, not you, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I told you this was light this time, so we're going to jump right to Michael Karnauka.
Okay.
In New York City.
All right.
And
what's the question?
He's always got a great question.
Yes.
What's the one thing, the one fear regarding modeling that, whether it has to do with assembly, finishing, painting, whatever, something overall about the hobby, a big section of the work we do, whatever, that keeps us from finishing or makes us procrastinate, I guess would be one way to put it.
I find myself now, and I think this has varied over the course of my modeling life. I find myself now, when I get to the end, especially if I really like the way things are going, the fear of screwing it up at the last minute keeps me from finishing nearly as fast as I know I could. This Kate could have been done a month ago. And I am, even though these AK pencils are nearly idiot proof and you can fix any mistake you make, I'm still finding myself being timid in doing them. Now, partly because I want a very subtle weathering, because these aircraft were, in preparation for the Pearl Harbor raid, these aircraft were in pretty darn good shape. So I want the weathering to be very subtle, but I fear of screwing it up. It's stupid and it keeps me from finishing more. The other thing is fear of new techniques. And these pencils, this is only like the second real model that I've used them on. So I even though I've watched the videos and seen other people doing them and, read the book and all the stuff, It's still that fear of making an uncurable mistake at the last minute, right at the finish line. And in general, there's no uncurable mistakes either, but it's in my head. And lawyers are procrastinators anyway. I mean, we take a class in law school called procrastination. None of us remember it, but we all took it. And it is one of the banes of my modeling existence. And when we get to our New Year's resolutions in a future episode, that's going to be one of my big New Year's resolutions is better time management to stop procrastinating. What's your fear?
It's a new techniques, hands down. But I need to mention something else. Matt O'Meara just chimed in. These things must time out, Dave. So I'm going to have to start interrupting.
Okay, if fine. You're
flapping your jaws. But
well, thank you.
Matt wanted to know if for the future dip on canopies.
Yes.
If the use of that word hadn't already made you punch out of this podcast, do you do that before or after you paint them?
I do it before.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much what I was thinking too. Because once the stuff's hard, man, it's pretty hard. Oh,
it is. It's rock solid. Now, the nice thing about Future is it can be easily removed with ammonia. So, I've never had, there's so many people who all seem to have trouble with Future. I've never had a problem in my life with the stuff. And maybe I'm just lucky. Maybe it makes sense to me. I don't know.
Big beef now is there's hobby related, specifically designed products out there now. So why wouldn't you migrate to them? And I think you just gave a reason whether it's valid for everyone or not. And once you learn how to use something, you don't move on from it sometimes. Yeah. Because it can only be so much better. Really.
Exactly.
So if you're getting a hard clear coat that's hard to damage, whatever works is working for you.
Yep.
Just curious, Dave, can you see the chat sidebar on your version of this?
Let's see. I do see. Well, I have to click on it. Oh, there we go. I clicked. I had to click on it in order to see it.
So Dave heard our statement there about the UV light, and there's our buddy Lee Fogel from the club, and Greg Williams. Paint stage always gets him. Yeah, weathering probably gets me too. I think that's when I'm like, okay, that could really screw this up now.
Warren chimed in, said he had to turn his volume way up to hear us. So don't know what that indicates.
I don't either. So
I don't know if that's him or us.
Turn it up, dude.
Yep.
Freedom rock.
There you go.
Well, Dave, that's all on the email side this couple of weeks. So what's happening on the direct message over on the Facebook side?
Well, we've got number. Now, do you just, again, interrupt me if you want to bring somebody in. We've actually had quite a number of Facebook interactions. Now, I'm not going to acknowledge all the ones who've stopped to wish us happy holidays and stuff like that. You all have all been great. We've had numerous folks reach out, wish us well, and we appreciate that. One of the ones that I think you and I both participated in, our friend Stephen Lee, who does the blog that we mention every podcast, he messaged us and was talking about, for want of a better term, the center of modeling gravity, where modeling and modeling innovations and where the center of modeling manufacturing and molding technology, where that is. And back in the 80s and 90s, it was clearly in Japan with Tamiya and Hasegawa, fine molds. And then it shifted to China when China started developing. And there are all these Chinese companies that popped up. They all started doing stuff. We got tons of releases. A lot of it flowed through Hong Kong back when Hong Kong was still a free place. And we were talking about the fact that we're all of the impression that some of that center of gravity has shifted away to, say, Poland and Ukraine. and that
the Czech Republic,
and the Czech Republic, and that's where a lot of the dynamism in modeling is happening. And I think you were in that conversation as well.
Yes.
So we had a great conversation over that. Paul Mahoney reached out, and he was talking about trying to get his mojo back, and he was looking at doing a very quick build, like a 24 or 48 hour build. And we got into a conversation because back there's a modeling forum out there called the Unofficial Airfix Modeling Forum, or UAMF. And what the UMAF would do, sometimes tied to holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas or 4th of July, where you got a 3-day weekend, they would have what they called a blitz bow, or a build that people would attempt to build a model in 24 hours, or if you were a wimp, you were allowed to do it in 2 12-hour sessions over 2 days. And I participated twice. I built a Tamiya Corsair and an Airfix Spitfire Mark 19. It really got to be, it was really fun that people started posting photos of not only the model in progress, but what meal that they were eating when they were stopping to take the photographs. They usually tried to find an unusual clock to put in there so that it memorialized the time. But I will say both times I participated, I did manage to finish the models, but both times I participated, I did find that they actually, it got the juices flowing, or got the mojo going. So Paul and I talked about that, and hopefully he's going to try it sometime.
Well, according to the chat window, we've got Greg Williams from Dayton area.
Yeah.
Dave Waples confirms that he's in the Colorado state there anyway.
Good.
And Matt O'Mearis from Ontario, Ottawa, Ontario. I wonder if he knows Chris and Ian and all those cats up there that
I don't know.
Spend a lot of time talking to. Warren, we know where you are, buddy. Brian Dinklau is on the coast of Jersey, and Warren has a modeling fluid too. So I can't remember, Dave, when we test drove this, what the mechanism was to actually get the link to pop up on my screen.
They have to ask. They have to.
Okay. All right.
They have to request. So one of you, if you want to actually be on and talk, look at your stuff and figure out how to request to join in, because we'd love to actually talk with you. This is one of the things, we've got a lot of great Patreon and PayPal supporters, and we haven't done a lot to make extra. This is one of these things where we want to try something new, and we sent the links out to the PayPal and Patreon guys, hoping that they would participate and enjoy. So feel free.
Are you done with your listener mail?
Well, actually, I do have one more. Well, two more. Kenneth Bickham Jr., who it turns out apparently he's a truck driver.
We've gotten several of those.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I can see how that could be a pretty darn good job to be able to squeeze your hobby into while you're traveling. So we've mentioned many, many episodes ago about how we really like the paintbrushes from Zem, Z-E-M. And Kenneth reached out, and we started talking about that, and he was asking for recommendations. And the Zem brushes are really, really nice and very, very economical. They were really good brushes at a good price. So we were happy to recommend it to him.
Well, to further that, I would say I would go a step beyond economical. If you put in a respectable sized order, you get those things for like half the MSRP on the website.
Yep.
And when I got mine, he'd thrown in a little sample pack of about 2 or 3 others. So zembrushes.com, I believe it is. And if you need brushes and need a lot of them, sure beats going down and trying to pick over the scraps at the big box art stores, because that's usually what happens.
Well, actually, you sent him the link. It's ZemBrush, no
That's
S, ZemBrush.com. And finally, I'm announcing my retirement from modeling because I was texting with Steve Hustad, our guest from the last episode. And he and Mark Copeland apparently got together post-Christmas, and they were modeling. And both Mark and Steve sent photos of Steve working on his KI-45 Nick. And I'd kill for 1% of that talent. So it was amazing watching seeing the photos of the very complex scheme for the Nick being free-handed by Steve. So it was impressive as always.
All right. Well, if that wraps up the listener mail, Dave,
it does.
We're going to take a little pause here and move on.
Well, the people in the chat are figuring out how to call in, so hopefully we'll get an actual call here shortly. In the meantime, this is the point in the episode where I ask you to please rate the podcast in whatever podcast app you're using, and to please recommend the podcast to modelers you know who may not even know what a podcast is. You may have to explain it to them. You may have to help them download a podcast app. We'd appreciate it because that's how we get new listeners. We're still getting new listeners, and we keep breaking new records, and it thrills the heck out of Mike and I. So please keep it up.
In addition to our podcast, you can find several others at www.modelpodcasts.com. That's Model Podcast plural. That was a consortium website set up with the help of Stuart Clark at the Scale Model Podcast up in Canada to provide a single repository for all the other podcasts out there who choose to participate in the spirit of cross-promotion with us. So check that out at www.modelpodcast.com. In addition to the podcast, we've already mentioned a couple. We've got some blog and YouTube friends out there. We've already mentioned Stephen Lee, Sprue Pie with Frets, and sure, you can go over there and check out what Steve's got going on in his blog. It's long and short form stuff. It's all really good. I don't know if he covered that center of the model universe topic we had over the email exchange. Maybe he will, though. Maybe he'll tackle that one.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see him turn that one into a long form one.
It's possible. And we've already also mentioned Jeff Groves, the Inch High guy blog. And now he's pretty much everything 70-second scale with a little history thrown in. That's why I found the color equivalent. It's not the same photo, but it's really close. Taken at a different time, but a color photograph from the War of B-26, the same aircraft. So I'm really anxious to get those posted and see what folks might have to say about it. In addition, we've got Jim Bates of Scale Canadian TV. He's going to be our guest in the first episode of the new year. So we're going to have another go at the topic wheel, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in the 12-minute model sphere coming up at the first of the month. And we've got our friend Chris Wallace, a model airplane maker. And he just dropped one for the holidays about.
Yes, he did.
Kind of a tongue in cheek about top shelf modeling. He had fun with his Blackbird. That's all I can say about that.
Yes.
So he's got a great up and coming, even. I'd say it's great now, but certainly the sky's the limit for Chris and his YouTube channel because he does a lot of great work and does a good job.
Finally, if you are not a member of your national IPMS organization.
Hang on, Dave. We finally got somebody in.
Oh, go ahead. Bring him in.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, guys. Nice to talk to you ear to ear for the first time.
Ear to ear. It's Brian Dinkloff from Built Sideways podcast.
Yes.
That is right.
How you guys doing?
Well, I'm doing quite well. Happy holidays. Good to hear you guys.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for a little quick word here.
Since we got a lot of people in the audience sitting there, you were able to call in. Oh, there's another. Oh, Lord, we're getting video. Oh, God, no. John, turn your camera off. No.
and I want to get you in, so just hold tight. We'll let Brian have a few words here, and then we'll talk.
Brian, did you have any problem figuring out how to call in and actually get in?
No, I'm pretty familiar with the I don't know how you want to say, the podcasting softwares out there, so it's pretty easy to navigate. It doesn't matter. So. Yeah, I know, right? I've been doing this for a minute. For anybody concerned in the audience, you don't have to have a camera. You don't want a camera. Just come and talk.
And it helps with bandwidth if you don't turn the camera on.
I just want to say that I'm happy to be here. It's been a pleasure podcasting alongside you guys as another one of the modeling groups out there. It's always a pleasure to hear your guys' show. You're always witty and fun, and I've always enjoyed your show, like from the beginning. So it's been a pleasure, guys.
Well, I enjoyed all the skateboarder pictures you posted recently on your Facebook page.
Hey, man. I've been skating since the 80s. Old habits die hard.
Hey, Brian, the check is in the mail. Thank you very much. Are you going to be in San Marcos this year?
San Marcos. No, that is the Nats this season. No, but I'm going to be going to Milwaukee. That's Wisconsin. That's my old stomping grounds. Or not Milwaukee, okay. Madison. That's my old stomping ground. So I'm absolutely going to be there 100%, but I don't think I can swing a trip to Texas this year, though.
All right. We'll see you in a year and change.
Yeah, we'll see you in a year and change for sure.
Well, I might be able to catch you somewhere else along the way, but we'll see about that. There's a lot of green between here and there. So
yeah.
All right,
guys. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks for jumping in.
Of course, my pleasure. Cheers.
All right.
There's John.
He's
Can
muted.
you hear us? Unmute, John.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. We can hear you now. What's up, man? Thanks for calling in.
Hey, my pleasure. Yeah, it's just a little. I figured out finally how to do the whole calling live, and then when I get back out, I'll be in the text part of it.
Okay, cool. Well, happy holidays.
Yeah, likewise.
So are you modeling right now?
I was before I called in.
Okay, yes. All right. Yes, at this exact moment you're talking to us, but before then, what were you working on?
I've got an old shelf queen that I'm resurrecting, trying to kill off.
Good for you. I have too many of those, and I've got to find a way to work through that backlog. Now, are you doing it intentionally, or did it just strike you that you felt the desire to do that work on that one again?
Well, we were talking about that, and my new plan moving forward is to finish 2 shelf queens before I start a new kit. And when I say finish, that's kind of I take that loosely, so that I could either be throwing it into the well of tears or giving it away or selling it. So I actually managed to sell one of my shelf queens at our Northwest Modelers meet the other day. So
that's innovative.
Yeah, it was actually a shelf queen that I bought on eBay. So technically, I didn't start it; someone else did, and I bought it for the box art. But because I was able to sell it, it counts as one of the 2 shelf queens that I was able to kill. So right now, I'm working on a Revell. A Revell Jimmy Johnson stock car that I started with my son about 15 years ago. So it's more of a paint mule, but I'm going to try some oil OPR on it and some other things. And that's what I'm working on right now.
All right. Well, now Warren Dickinson's jumped in here.
Yes.
John, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thank you. I'll jump back out.
Cool. You take care.
Well, Warren's figured it out. How you doing?
All right. How about y'all?
It's finally warming up here.
How much snow do you have on the ground, Warren?
We've probably got about 2 inches as of today.
Now, how cold did it? Okay, 48 hours ago, Warren's in Kentucky. He's in southern Kentucky. 48 hours ago, we had a real cold snap come through Kentucky. Warren, how cold did it get there for you?
I think it was about 10 below for us, not counting the wind chill.
That was worse than us. I was 5 below here in Louisville.
Yeah, it was between 5 and 10. Believe me, I wasn't getting up in the middle of the night to look at the thermometer.
Well, I was actually out at 5:30 in the morning shoveling the driveway because we had
Because you weren't going anywhere.
well, no, I wasn't, but the wife and daughter both were. So,
Oh, no. I called in that day. I took vacation.
well, I was lucky that I wasn't scheduled to work that. That was a pre-planned close for our office. So I actually did work from home that day because
At least that's what you told him.
yeah, no, I did because there's no getting away from it with a lawyer. There are no boundaries for that type of stuff.
Well, what are you working on?
Newports and Newports.
Oh,
The Edward kit?
The Edward 172nd kit. Yeah.
Oh man,
You know, I am a 72nd scale devotee. It is God's one true scale.
It
But
is.
World War I aircraft in 72nd scale is freaking insane.
Well, when you live in a small house and you have a small budget, it's what you do.
I understand. Well, hopefully you're going to come up to the Louisville Regional this year, so we'll get to see you in person.
That's my game plan.
Well, good.
Well, what else is going on? Just the Newports?
Well, the Newports are there. The Zeros got put away for a better time. I'm waiting for my Armor Hobby Guadalcanal boxings to come in, and I'm probably going to dive into a P400 when those come in.
So you got the dual boxing with the F4F and the P400?
Yes. That broke my wallet.
There you go.
I'm sure. Well, I think I saw in the chat window you had a modeling fluid. What do you got?
I've got my son got me a new bourbon we had never tried from Owensboro called Green River Bourbon. So we're trying that, and the wife got me some Casey Jones.
Well, send me the info on that, or not the info, the review.
Yes, posted on the dojo.
All right. Well, now we got Greg Williams showing up.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Greg.
There
What's
we
happening?
go.
What's going on, guys?
Nothing much. How are you? First of all,
Good.
where are you located?
About 30 minutes west of Dayton, little town called West Alexandria.
Okay. I know where it is.
I was going to say, Dave always talks about this being the dark times for him.
Yep.
I must be lucky because the last couple of years I've had at least 2 or 3 weeks off at the end of the year. So I got a lot of free time right now.
Well, it's not that I don't have any time off. I'm not
It's other people filling it up for you.
Exactly. It is. It is all of that holiday stuff. It is, cooking. I did a fair amount of cooking for Christmas dinner over here on Christmas Day. I've got a fairly large family, so we end up going 2 or 3 places, or we have them over here as well. Then you're buying last minute gifts, and it's not that I don't have time off. It's that I don't have the ability to fill it with modeling, which is what I'd like to do.
Yeah, I get that.
What are you working on?
Well, the Das Work 1/16 Panzer III.
Oh,
Okay. You've listened to the show. So, 1/16 scale. Why did you decide to do this one?
More about the content more than the size. Really.
Okay. You're a fan of the Panzer III?
Yeah, well, that, and I don't mind the size because I did get Andy Sherman, and my wife got me for Christmas, pre-ordered the Tiger. So,
okay.
Oh,
I have that
nice.
marked.
So you're upsizing across the board.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
got about all sides. I agree with Dave on the 1/72 scale planes. That's about the perfect size for me on those.
Well, good. You're a modeler who has a range. You don't just do
Yes.
aircraft.
Yes, I
don't
do.
just do armor. So I assume you do 35th scale armor. How do you
Yes.
how do you feel about 16th as opposed to 35th? Do you prefer one or over the other? Do you find one over the other easier to do?
I would mainly stick with 135th, but I don't mind dabbling with the 116th, like when I have a few weeks off to actually dig into it.
Well, that's a lot. Are you doing anything special to it, or are you just building it straight up?
Nah, just pretty much straight up with the winter white camo.
Okay.
So you're going to do you're going to paint it the undercolor and then do a winter whitewash?
Yeah, it's already got the winter white on it. It's about 2/3 done, I would guess.
So what did you do to do that effect, the whitewash, the partly worn whitewash over the base color?
I got some chipping fluid from, I forget who's got it. Yeah, I put that down and then I sprayed it white and then just scraped some stuff off here and there.
Now, have you used chipping fluid before, or was this the first time you attempted that?
Yes, on a 135th other tank I did a year or two ago.
So. Okay.
All right. Well, Greg, we appreciate you jumping in here with us. If you stay in the audience, we appreciate it. But thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for listening, and Happy New Year.
Absolutely.
Scott Stakowiak.
Yes. First thing, Scott, you have to tell us how to pronounce Stakowiak.
Yeah, actually, there's probably about 5 different ways to pronounce it. I think everybody in our family has a slightly different way.
It's like my name.
Yes, basket and basket. Are there any others other than those two, Mike?
Well, the occasional restaurant hostess says Baschetti.
Baschetti.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. At a restaurant, we just go by stack. S-T-A-C-K.
There you go.
Make it easy. But I pronounce it Stahoviak. There's also Stakowiak, Stahoviak. Pick your favorite.
Now, I assume you are of Polish ancestry?
Correct.
Okay. How far back do you go?
Oh, geez, generations. I would actually love to know more about that part of the family tree. On my mom's side, one of my aunts was into genealogy, and we traced it way back, and even visited the small town in Belgium, like great grandparents came from. But on my dad's side, unfortunately, I only have it like maybe 2 generations back. But so I'm up in Michigan, maybe like 2 hours north of Detroit, just on the Saginaw Bay, part of Lake Huron.
Yeah.
But I did work for a small time in Wisconsin, and there was somebody there with the same last name, but no relation. So it appears there's people with the same name in the Chicago or Milwaukee area.
Well, the reason I asked is one of Mike and one of our good friends, a member of our local club, Tom Romanowski, also rather obviously Polish. Tom actually grew up in communist Poland and came to the U.S. when he was 17, before the wall fell and before all of that stuff happened. So I didn't know how long your family had been in.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty interesting story, but no, for a long time, at least from what I understand.
So what are you working on?
Well, it's interesting because I recently had to move my model room, so things got kind of boxed up, and I'm in the process of getting it reset up. So now I've got a dilemma because I've got a Tester's OV10 Bronco that's in the paint stage, and it's kind of a fairly basic kit, but I was using it more or less just to try some different painting techniques on it. So it's like half painted right now. So my dilemma is, do I continue with that, or do I start on that fine molds F4C with the Michigan International Guard markings I just got from Model Paint Solutions?
Okay, finish the model before you start the new one. That's although not to kill you, you're talking as an OV1 or OV10?
OV10 Bronco.
Oh, the OV10 kit. Yeah. No, and I'm going to tell you this, and I don't live it at all. You should finish the model before you start the new one, but I don't do that. Do as I say, not as I do. Because
we'll try.
I'm terrible about that. So, well, I assume you're going to end up being in Madison, not in 2024 for the Nationals, right?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. In fact, we're going to be in San Marcos.
Oh, well, great.
We're going to do that. And then definitely planning on heading to Madison. In fact, I think for Madison, I'm going to take Lake Ferry across Lake Michigan that runs from the west coast of Michigan over to north of Milwaukee.
Nice.
To drive over. Yeah, I just wish it was closer to the EAA fly-in at Oshkosh, and was hoping to do two birds with one stone but they're too far apart.
Yeah.
In time.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, thanks for calling in, and we appreciate I know you show up in our inbox a lot with the listener mail, and
yeah, sometimes
it's always welcome. So we appreciate it.
It really is.
Well, thanks. Great talking with you guys. Also, I did have a question for you, modeling adjacent.
Okay.
So I listened to some other podcasts, really enjoy them, and I've noticed everybody seems to have their unique music. And I just started thinking about this lately. Where did you guys get the theme for Plastic Model Mojo?
I got the theme from a paid licensing place. There's several of them. The one I use the most is called Audio Jungle, and you can license these short riffs and things that I imagine musicians just put them out there for popcorn to sell to make some bottom line while they're trying to really make it in the industry. I don't know why this stuff's out there, but it's a paid thing to get the license to use it. But we chose the Mojo for the name, so I wanted something a little funky. So that's where we ended up, and that's how I get it.
No, very good. I like it. It's a really good one. But it must have been hard, man, probably going through like hundreds of those things.
It was. It took me a couple of days going through a number before I found one I felt I could work with, and that kind of had the right feel for it, for what I wanted. And but eventually I did, and I'm always out there looking every now and then for some new stuff to use in other places in the show. So that's where it comes from, because you got to kind of be careful using something that's not licensed. You can get yourself into some trouble pretty quick, apparently.
Yeah. Yes, even if you have a really good lawyer on your podcast.
Have you got one, Dave?
No. That's why you're using licensed music.
Interesting question, but that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thanks. Great talking with you tonight.
You're welcome.
Take it easy.
Thanks for joining us. Well, Dave, where are we in the outline, man?
That's what I was going to ask you. We just finished up the IPMS plug, and I think
I don't think you ever finished the plug. I interrupted you.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're not a member of IPMS, your local or your national chapter, IPMS USA, IPMS Canada, IPMS Israel, IPMS Norway, whatever, please join. The national organizations are really great, and they really help the hobby in your specific country. Please join.
All right, Dave. Well, he's been mentioned already, so let's have a word from our sponsor.
You got it.
Plastic Model Mojo is now brought to you by Model Paint Solutions, your source for Harder Steenbeck airbrushes, David Union power tools, and laboratory-grade mixing, measuring, and storage tools for use with all your model paints, be they acrylic, enamels, or lacquers. Check them out at www.modelpaintsolutions.com. Well, Dave, come and make it in Texas. We've already had a couple of folks mention the IPMS National Convention to San Marcos, Texas in August.
And I'm glad to hear that some of our listeners and some of the folks even calling in are planning to be there.
Well, I wish I knew how many days it was going to be.
Oh, that's all right.
This is the off-the-cuff, no-plan episode. But
exactly.
Go back to the last episode and
subtract 14.
About 14 days. That ought to get us there. But anyway, we're under 200 for sure. No, we're not. We're under 300.
We're under 300. We're closing in on under 200.
That's right. So, yeah, we got to make some plans, Dave. It's not a short trip.
No, it's about 15 driving hours. So you and I have to sit down. We've got a lot of things we need to sit down and talk about. We need to get a calendar, plan out our show schedule. We need to get a map and plan out the trip to San Marcos. And as a matter of fact, on the Facebook DMs, we have been invited down to share some Texas barbecue when we're down in San Marcos. So another reason for us to make sure we get down there and make it.
Well, the calendar's looking good. Hopefully we can pull it off.
Yep.
Because we got maybe a little Canadian stowaway.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If we figure out how we can accomplish that, that's going to be a fun time.
Well, hopefully a lot of folks listening tonight and listening to the recorded version of this will be down there as well. It's always surprising Well, we've done it twice now. It was surprising both times how many folks actually were at the Nationals who were listeners, and so much fun meeting all those people.
And one of the most gratifying things for me, because, I'm, again, best 4 days of my year, every year, bar none. And I am a big booster of the Nationals, and I have been singing its praises. There was nothing more gratifying for me to have people come up at Las Vegas and at Omaha and say that this was their first Nationals. They'd never been before, and that it was everything I said it was and more. And that I know how enjoyable a Nationals and how amazing your first Nationals can be. And I love the fact that other people are getting that level of joy. So, yeah, come to San Marcos and then come to Madison in 2024 as well.
Well, Dave, if that's all we got for the Nats this episode, it's time for the Bench Top Halftime Report. The Bench Top Halftime Report is brought to us by Tackett Z, our good friend Ed Tackett over in Louisville. Dave, next to you, www.tacketz.com. The must-have tools for the model maker. Now, Ed's got a lot of 3D printed accessories for your workbench. He sells an acrylic paint airbrush cleaner. Be curious what he's got going on in 2023, Dave.
Yes.
What's up on your bench, my friend?
Well, my friend, it is, I was going to say it's all Kate all the time, but it's not quite. The last 2 weeks, it's been mostly Kate. The Kate is, I am down to the point where it is take the masking off the canopy, finish up the weathering, and stick the propeller in and call it a day. It will be done by December 31st. I vow that. So that'll be 3 for the year for me.
Heard it here first, folks.
But I have not, that's not all I've been working on. As you know, the Moosaroo is coming up. I'm building the Arma P51. And while the Kate has attracted the vast majority of my attention, I just finished up I made the Arma P51 spinner and propeller for the version I'm doing, kind of a mini model, a model within a model, because you can, the way the kit's broken down and all, you can completely build that, paint it, decal it and all, and then set it aside as a completed mini model in the context of working on the larger model. And so I actually, other than doing some little bit of weathering, I've actually finished the prop on the Arma kit. And so once the Kate is completely done, the Moosaroo becomes the focus of my attention, because I'm not going to embarrass you, the former Moosaroo champion, by not finishing the model. It may not win, but it's going to be done.
Well, I'm not former until you get beat.
Well, that's, yeah, okay. Okay. All right. Well, I will try and make sure that at least we have a completed entry there.
I'm teasing, man.
Yeah, sure. So what does your bench look like?
My bench has been pretty busy up until about a day before Christmas. You saw what I was doing.
Yes.
I had a goal over this holiday season to get the catapult boom to the point where I can start the weathering. And I think I've succeeded on that, because it's all the pre-shading's done. It's under a satin coat now, and it's had several days to dry. So look forward to starting that in earnest here as soon as I get a minute.
Well, I will say that I really, and those of you in the dojo can see that Mike has been posting photos. I really like the way the catapult has come together for you. And I think that's a lot of times one of my problems with modelers who build bases or mini dioramas. They actually detract from the model sometimes if the level of effort isn't up to the standard of the model itself. I think you're going to really be able, given what you've put into that catapult, to make it complement the model, not detract from it.
Well, I hope so. It's been too long getting to where I'm at, but we're getting there.
You'll get there.
In addition to that, I've been just chipping away at those Tankcraft tracks for my KV-85 project, and there's going to be a video forthcoming on our soon-to-launch YouTube channel. Now, don't get too excited, folks. Not sure what our YouTube channel is going to be, other than not something that's getting updated every other week.
Wait a minute. You're not going to do a Martin drop a video every week, or no. Even he's not doing that now. I think I really that it's going to be more of a when I feel like it, or when when I can get something together and get up there, and we'll just see what happens. I'm going to try it as well. Mike is my Sherpa up this mountain, and I'm going to attempt that as well.
There's just so much out there already. I just don't know how to get to the point where I don't think I have to put a dent in that. I'm just going to have to put stuff up there because I think it will be beneficial to people.
Right. There is a fire hose of videos out there, but that doesn't mean that there's still plenty of stuff not being done.
That's true.
As far as I know, nobody's done a video review of those KV-85 tracks. And, well, I guess they're really KV-1 tracks.
No, there's a review.
Oh, is there?
The same set was used by Rick Lawler on his ISU 152 build.
Oh, okay.
So, but it'll be another perspective.
Yeah. And that really does help too, even if there is already a video out there. Well, it's like these AK weathering pencils. There's the official AK video. There's a couple other official AK sub videos, and then there are reviews by 3 or 4 other people. And then there are, people doing demos and techniques on a couple more videos. All of it's valuable.
And I think in this case, they'll be complimentary. It's going to be a plus and a plus. I mean, the tracks are incredible, really.
Really?
Yeah, they're very nice. That'll be good for Tankcraft.
Good. Well, and you know what? And listen, when a company's putting out a good product, we should say a company's putting out a good product. That's because right. you want those people to continue and to grow, and there's no reason for them not to be proud of the work they've done, especially if they've accomplished something really good.
Other than that, not much. I've been trying to stave off the temptation to start something else.
Well, you've also been fiddling with the 3D printing a little bit.
Well, yeah, a little bit. I can't remember if we talked about that last time or not, but I
don't think so, because I don't think you had done it. I think this is in the last 2 weeks.
Maybe. I've done some more test prints from my long haul Reba Botan project, and I'm trying to see how to do the chassis. Do I want to do the chassis frame in one solid, one go, one print, or do I want to split it up into components so I can optimize the support structure and all that, and get the model I want?
Well, which way are you leaning?
I'm leaning toward breaking it up into 5 pieces.
Wow.
Instead of 1.
It'll make that much of a difference as far as the support structures and the level of detail?
Well, yes and no. Yes, level of detail, but there's not a whole lot on the chassis. There's some things that if I can reorient the parts, I can get better rendering of what I've already got. It will let me strategically create the support structure so it's in non-offending areas when I clean it off.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's the chassis. So even if I had some tedious cleaning and got a little lazy with it, is it going to show or not? That's kind of the dilemma, right?
It's going to be covered in mud, right? Isn't that the answer all you armor guys have? It's just going to be covered in mud.
Toward all you wingy thingy guys.
There you go.
That's right.
The war has started, folks.
Well, I don't know. I saw an airplane model the other day on Facebook that had a tarp over the front canopy.
Do you know what? I have known a number of modelers who right at the end, boogered a canopy, and their solution was to create a tarp and throw it over. And it's not a bad solution to, you've got a really nice model and you boogered the canopy and you don't want to go back and do all the work necessary to fix that, which is sometimes really, really difficult. that is an acceptable solution to me, just like mud on the tracks and running gear is an acceptable solution if you're building an armor piece.
I don't know, man. Depends on who you ask.
Well, yeah. We're having fun. I don't care as long as you're happy with it, who the heck cares what anybody else thinks?
Well, if you got anything else, that's all my bench.
That's it.
All right. Well, let's hear one more time for the year from Chris at Inside the Armor.
Hello, Mojovians. This is Chris from Inside the Armor Publications, and I'm here to tell you all about Models for Ukraine Volume 2. The first volume of Models for Ukraine raised money for humanitarian aid for Ukraine by featuring only Ukrainian manufacturers made by some of the best modelers around the world. Why mess with a good formula? Volume 2 features much of the same. This time, though, all of the articles will be new and feature such great artists as Calvin Tan, Ken Abrams, Sam Dwyer, Rene van der Hart, Vance Lubin, Robert Blocker, and many more. All in all, 23 artists in 11 countries have donated their work for free to what we think is a fantastic modelling book that also happens to raise a lot of money for a good cause. If you'd like to purchase this fantastic book, please head on over to InsideTheArmor.com to get yours today. Also, if you'd like to know more about the model manufacturers of Ukraine, please look up Models from Ukraine podcast to hear the latest interviews with people like ResKit, Wingsy Kits, Armory, and many of the other Ukrainian manufacturers. A special thank you to Mike and Dave. Raise your glass of modelling fluid, and let's get back to the plastic model mojo.
Oh, mine's empty.
Well, I've just managed to finish mine as well.
Well, we're ahead of the curve.
Yep. Mike, this time of year, your wallet is probably broken. What exactly broke it?
Oh, man, I don't know that I've made a modeling purchase since the last time we did this. I mean, I was running red hot for a while.
I know, you were a machine. Well, I can tell you what broke my wallet.
Okay.
Car insurance, 2 daughters, and a wife, and Christmas.
Well,
but,
I got a wife, but 2 sons. And
yeah. Well, I'm sure your auto insurance bill is as bad as mine.
I'm thinking, man, something came in the mail the other day. What was it? Oh, I know what it was. I placed a last call order with TMD, Tiger
right.
Model Designs. TMD's closing shop for good, and he issued an APB for last call orders to be submitted, I think, by the 31st of December.
Yeah, I think so too.
And after that, he's not taking any orders, and he vows to fulfill every order taken by that point. So I picked up the early. It's listed on the site as the Model 39 KV1 turret. That's not quite really what it is. I mean, that's when they made them, but it's a U-series prototype turret. It's nuanced, folks.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but the way the Soviet system, then the way the particularly pre-wall falling, the Western historians and researchers made up their own classifications for Soviet vehicles that didn't necessarily correspond to what the Soviets called them.
I got the turret, and I think I'd have to go back and really look at the order email, because I know I ordered the turret, and I ordered the hardware to do the pistol port open.
Yes.
With the plug hanging on the chain from the internal hardware.
Yeah.
And the internal hardware, if you want to have that the hatch open, but the KV's got that little single round hatch in the middle. You'd be hard pressed to see it probably. But anyway, it's there. In the box, I also got the early nose armor, the angle that fits over the glacis and the front lower plate.
Yeah.
On a KV. The early ones had like twice as many fasteners on them.
Yeah.
And then also a Model 39 hull, which is, doesn't have the coaxial machine gun in the front. It just has a pistol port in the front plate.
Yeah.
And I think he threw those in. I don't recall ordering those. I have to go back and check that again. But,
well, you did say at the time, because you messaged me when you received the shipment, that he had thrown a number of things in as bonus material.
Yeah, basically I ended up with everything I needed to, because Trumpeter makes quote unquote Model 39 KV1. It's got some problems. And
wait a minute, a Trumpeter kit with some problems?
So the net is that the sum of these 3 parts, you don't really need the pistol port unless you want to do the open one.
Right.
So the bow angle and the upper hull and the turret lets you fix it all. So maybe he thought that's what I was doing. I don't know.
Well, that was nice of him to. And listen, I hate to see them cease operations because their castings were really, really beautiful.
I have to wonder if the whole game's changed.
And it may have. Maybe 3D printing has changed some of this, the way that resin casting kind of edged out vacuforming.
Yep.
I wonder if 3D printing is doing the same to resin casting.
It's possible, Dave.
It is.
What broke your wallet?
Again,
other than the things you just
auto
told me.
insurance, 2 daughters and a wife, and Christmas. Actually, not much, because now I suspect this might be true for a lot of the folks out there. This time, about Christmas time, again, I hit the dark time. I have less time to model to begin with. Also, I'm running around trying to get last minute gifts for the wife and the kids and the cats and the dogs and, basically scrambling to do all the stuff that you need to do around the holidays. So really, I haven't purchased much. About the only thing I did was the other day, I placed an order with Dr. Miller for a replenishment of some supplies, some unicorn tears, some retarders, some masking Sol R, just to try and replenish some supply stuff. But I imagine that after the first of the year, do you remember last spring, Mike, you and I were talking, and you were talking about you wanted to acquire you were looking at about acquiring a 3D printer. And I said I was looking at acquiring a Silhouette Cameo.
Yeah.
Well, you ended up finding a really great deal and acquiring a 3D printer. I did not, because of financial and other considerations, end up acquiring the Silhouette Cameo. But I have found a good deal. I've come into a little bit of Christmas money, and I suspect my wallet is about to be broken by the purchase of that.
Not much.
No, it's actually a pretty darn good. It's nothing like what you did with that 3D printer.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the Silhouette at MSRP isn't exactly a finance job.
No, it is not. But then again, when you have an 18-year-old daughter who's on your auto insurance, there are priorities.
I'll give you that.
Only thing worse could be an 18-year-old son.
Well, some of their listeners out there are lamenting the demise of Archer Dry Transfers, and
yes,
Brian Dinklow's got 3 fingers of Woodford. Good
job, man. That is a fine modeling fluid.
If that's neat, he's gonna be feeling good.
Oh yeah.
Unless he's got a really tiny glass.
Well, not only that, even if it's not neat, he will eventually feel really, really good. I suspect in the new year, my wallet's about to get broken a little bit more. So,
well, I tell you what, these people are making me thirsty.
Me too.
So, I mean, we would pause when we're doing this on our own. We're not gonna shut this down, but I'm gonna run an ad here from another one of our sponsors, and we're gonna fill up. And folks, there'll be a pause, but we'll be back.
Yes, keep listening. Stay in the audience. This won't be long. Hit it, Mike.
Getting the right size base for your model, diorama, or vignette can be difficult and time-consuming. Bases by Bill has the solution with their all-new custom-size display bases. Offering sizes of 4 to 30 inches and any size in between, you choose the dimensions you want and you get the size you need every time. They can also be laser engraved with a unit emblem or custom text of your choice. In addition, shipping is always included within the lower 48 states. Built by modelers for modelers, Bases by Bill has bases and display cases for any type of model and for any size. Visit their website at basesbybill.com to see their new products or to get your own custom-built base case or display case quote. Use the code MOJO at checkout to apply a 10% listener discount to your order. That code again is MOJO for 10% off. Bases by Bill for all your model display needs. Well, according to the outline, Dave, we're at the modeling fluid wrap-up.
Yes, we are.
But that's because we don't have a special segment, because this is a running special segment.
Yes, that is right.
Is there anyone out there still who's not got in yet or wants to come in again?
Yes, if there's one of you that wants to reach out, please. We're getting toward the end of the episode, so we'd be happy to talk a little bit more before we wrap it up.
Oh, and it's somebody new.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is the voice of God. I mean, Bob.
See, that's exactly the marketing that I was looking for right there.
Yes, the voice of God. No, Bob. I have to ask you, did you do anything to work to create that voice? Or is it just a natural born talent?
That is so crazy that you just asked me that question.
Okay.
Because reason why is because I was just out with a bunch of guys, good friends of mine that we do trivia with. Because I'm also a trivia master. I perform trivia every Tuesday.
I love
online with a group of friends, and I've done it for 25 years. So someone asked me there, well, what did you have to work on that voice? I'm like, no, the voice is just, it just is. I mean, this is the one that I was given from birth. It's also a curse because whispering to me carries across a room. So I often have gotten caught with, whispering. Wow, what did you think of that guy? He has no idea what's going on. And then suddenly the head snaps around. So,
keep it down now. Voices carry.
Exactly. Another musical reference. Yes.
But did you have any voice training? I mean, you're naturally gifted. This nice, deep. I guess it would be classified as a baritone or a bass voice.
I guess, as my wife used to call it, bombastic. It's just, it's a tone. I mean, obviously I can cool it down a little bit and make it to where it's not so penetrating. But then if I really want to, then you just throw a little bit more in. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Hey, that must have been a nice gift when you were courting the ladies, because you could drop into that Barry White style voice. Oh yeah.
Right. So, and that is why, again, that I have a face for radio, just plays right into it. I met my wife through a newspaper ad, and then talking to her on the phone for like almost a month before we actually met.
So
that's like a Cyrano de Bergerac kind.
Yeah, I was going to say, you used your gifts to maximum advantage. You knew where your strengths lay.
Yeah. She's like, I gotta hook this before she sees me.
That's right. The lure. Yeah, that's right. It says, all right, good night, hon. You have a good night. Just, yep.
What's up, Bob? Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it really was. It was a good one. Got, some of those gift cards I'm always looking for, of course, from some of those great vendors out there. I got sent, at first I thought it was a mystery model, but it ended up being from my brother, because he watched some of the 72 that we did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he gave me the Axis, basically the Axis version of that same, the same F-22 Su-59, obviously drawing board or prototype.
The Su-57 Felon.
57, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Well, I got something too.
Yeah, Mike got a gift card.
Well, no, I got this really cool plastic vial with some foreign pennies in it, and Some dolt had dropped a bottle of booze in there with it.
Clearly, this is something that you have kept from me.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Bob, thank you for the gift. I will let Dave have his ration as soon as I'm done.
Yeah,
with it.
Sure he will.
And yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you told him there was just one, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Good.
He didn't tell me anything, Bob.
No, yeah, and obviously, you know, a little bit of noise sometimes covers up sloshing. I think I've heard.
Did we have a conversation at Nats about me sending booze to France and putting Lego sets in for my friend's kid for this exact same reason? I don't know if we did or not, but when I saw the jar of coins, I smiled because I'm like, yeah, there's a thinking man right there.
That's a great workaround.
Well, Bob, what else is going on? I know you're building your atom bomb.
Yeah, this kit has been kind of a nightmare.
Well, what kit is that? It's kind of big.
It's a masterpiece models.
Is it 12th scale?
Yeah, it's 12th scale. I had just finished the little boy, and then this is Fat Man. I bought both of them at my first nationals there in Vegas. And so I finally getting down to actually working them, but this one is really, really tough. It's obvious that the original design and the original plans were using brass sheet and for the fins, and they have moved over to using plastic sheet, and it really made the dimensions kind of off a little bit, and then the fins inside just became a nightmare. It was a lot of work. I pulled it completely apart at one point and then redid it again in the fin area, and just to get it, okay.
Well, two questions. One statement, one question. One, I have the Fat Man and Little Boy from Black Dog in 72nd scale, so I'm looking forward to building those. Mm-hmm. And two, the question is, are you looking forward to the Christopher Nolan movie Oppenheimer in March?
I am.
That looks darn good.
It looks really good. I've done some reading, in the past about, the atomic, program and Manhattan Project. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I really am too. Yeah, it looks like a good one, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. And, the joke, he didn't use any CGI. And so the joke going around is he actually built an atomic bomb and set it off to film it. But apparently, the whole thing is done without a bit of CGI.
Wow, so, that's good. The physical engineers need to get involved in this again, and just get them out there and building stuff instead of doing it at the desk. There's always a time when CGI looks great, but there's something about you can just tell.
Yes,
when at least
absolutely
even as good as it is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's next for you, Bob?
Well, I've actually got a Machine and Krieger model that I started that is supposed to be for the group build. So I've got part of that one going, and then I'm also looking at this the Proteus from Fantastic Voyage that I've got the complete interior and all the lights and all that kind of stuff. I bought all the extras on it, and I wanted to get to. So again, it's me jumping around to different genres, and that was actually when at the point where we were talking about having a question. That was going to be my question was, saying, what do you think? To me, I always think of versatility, but obviously you get better just by building a tank and a tank and a tank and a tank and a tank.
Well, I do think jumping across genres does get you some additional skill. I mean, if you build, World War II tank, World War II tank, World War II tank, World War II tank, you can get very good at it. But I do think that by building across genres, you can actually pick up skills that you would never pick up just building the same genre again and again and again. And sometimes those can actually be cross-purposed.
I think, for my 2 cents, is that the longer you put off that genre-crossing subject, you do the tank after tank after tank, or plane after plane after plane, that cross subject just gets a little bit harder.
Yes.
I think you get set in your ways. But I tell
agree.
you, the plane glacial pace, I understand, but the plane I've built and the catapult I'm working through, I'm learning all kinds of new stuff. And it makes me think for the next one, it makes me want to do another one of those. And I've got at least one plan, probably two. And then the Musaru last year, the Gundam, while that wasn't exactly my cup of tea, I learned a lot doing it. I kind of got it after I built it. Not sure I'd go there again. But I tell you, as soon as who is it? Round 2? Who is AMT now? Round 2?
Something
Round
like
2,
that.
I think it is. But they're going to drop a new tooled 32nd scale TIE fighter sometime in 2023, and that's gonna be in my stash for sure. That'll be a genre crossing subject for me, because it'll be pretty big in that scale, but not terrible.
Yeah.
And I
What
think,
do you think? What size?
it's 32nd scale, so it's going to be So
sorry,
you're going to have to kind of put your brain around your old Star Wars figures and your Kenner TIE fighter, and think it's going to be
okay. Well.
It's going to be big-ish, I guess. It's not going to be huge, but
It'll be about the size of a 32nd scale Phantom. Or
I bet the panels on the side will be close to, I don't know, 18, 20 inches tall, probably.
Yeah, I would think so.
Something like that. And
32nd? I don't think about 32nd. Sorry to butt in, guys. You started talking about Star Wars, and I had to unmute my mic.
It's
This
Brian
is
Dinklau's
Brian.
back, folks.
Yeah. Hey, Voice of Bob. How you doing, brother? Good to talk to you.
Brian, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Good. Making models, having fun.
Yeah.
So how big's this thing I'm going to buy going to be?
I don't think it's going to be that big.
You
I think
don't
a 32nd scale. I'm thinking it's probably going to be maybe 8 inches on the diameter for those panels on the side of the TIE fighter. It's just a standard TIE. It's not like a bomber or anything like that, right?
Yeah. No, it's standard TIE fighter.
But I'm thinking of the proportions I've seen, like on a 72nd scale TIE fighter, and to get a 32nd scale figure inside the capsule.
True.
I think
the
it's gonna-
capsules are tight.
I think it's going to be pretty big.
I'm interested. I'm interested to see how it is, man. It's going to be pretty cool regardless.
See, here we are sitting here talking sci-fi models. Folks, we cover the gamut.
Well,
See?
we try. Well, Bob, what are you? What did you mention it? Did I miss it? Am I flubbing here? What are you? What was it again? You were going to build?
We were talking about the follow-on and the Proteus.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Fantastic Voyage.
Raquel Welch in a tight jumpsuit. How can you ever forget that, Mike?
Is that in the kit?
No, it's in the movie.
It is every time I close my eyes, man.
Yeah, there you go. Woo! That is a great movie.
Well, Bob, we always appreciate your support, man, and we know we got something cooked up for Nats. I hope that's going to come to fruition, and you're going to be emceeing that again. You want to say a little bit about that, maybe?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the last two Nats, we've had a get together of the podcasters, that were available at the time that came to the nationals. The first time, it was well received, but it was it wasn't a huge crowd. But last year, I think we showed everybody that there's got some real potential in this. People really got in there. They enjoyed it. They loved the interaction. We had 7 teams of podcasters / vloggers there. It ended up being a great show. And everyone, a lot of people got to ask questions. There was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of fun. I think there was nothing but positives out of it. So, and I was doing it as initially, there was a question as to whether Jim Bates was going to be able to get there. I'd said, hey, I'll be able to do it, and then Jim did. And then we kind of worked together with it. So, we just got together and did I'll do this part, you do that part, and we made something out of it. And then I decided, well, I'd like to kind of roll with that. Let's go with it. Let me try and own it a little bit for next nationals. So I'm gonna try and just kind of put it together. Very similar to what we're already doing, but maybe a little bit more interaction. Making sure that we get more of the audience questions, because that's what everyone's there for, is for the people, the audience, and maybe some photographs as well. We'll get some stuff up on a screen, and then we want to make sure that we're going to include a video with this as well, recording at least, streaming even possibly. So we've got some ideas.
Well, good.
All right. Well, Bob, thanks for dropping in. I know we got a couple more queued up here, and I hate to push you off, but we gotta. You know how it works. You're a radio guy.
Appreciate it.
Excellent to talk to you, Bob. Have a good night, man.
What's up, Brian? You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I realized that I came in real quick. I said Heidi Doody to kind of break the ice, and I didn't talk about any modeling stuff.
Oh, well, we got to do that.
Yeah,
a little bit, maybe a little bit. I mean, we've had a lot of conversations throughout the years or the last 2 years, and I feel like you guys have helped me kind of rekindle some of the aspects of modeling that I had in my youth that I wasn't embracing at the time, because I was a very prolific mecha modeler when I started listening to you guys, and you actually helped me rekindle a little bit of the path that I'm currently on right now. So yeah, well, another kudos, another feather in your cap.
Oh, thank you. Are you referring mostly to like the historical stuff you're doing again?
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm doing historical stuff. I'm doing these automotive models. Getting into doing the aeronautical stuff, the jets and the planes that I used to do when I was a kid back in the 80s and 90s. That I kind of like got away from because of whatever the things. And
that's fantastic, man. But I tell you what, man, don't stop making them flying V-dubs and stuff, because that's
of course. I mean, that's the thing. Like that's
man.
When I was a kid, that's what I wanted to do. Was I wanted to produce the things that were in my head, the fantastical stuff. And now I have the life skills and the mechanical skills to be able to actually implement my ideas. So it's super amazing to be able to come back into the genre and have such a good time, and then be able to contribute to the community as well. And I feel like that's just super valuable,
Well, let me ask you something, because some of your more, I would, that VW project, it was just audacious. It really was.
Thanks.
It was
no fear.
Really cool. No fear. I'm curious, what do you do? What's the day job? What's your background?
Well, okay. So I kind of, and I say this on my, my Facebook art page or whatever, that I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. And that goes to the old adage that it's better than being a master of one. I've always been a builder. My biological father is a carpenter and a craftsman. My stepdad is also, he's a locksmith and a machinist. My step grandfather was, he worked on the railroad, and he also built a lot of bungalows and did a lot of construction. So I have like that influence. My mother is a craftswoman as well, I should say, not to discount. But so I have a lot of influences from my childhood that allowed me to pursue creative endeavors and gave me a lot of opportunities to try to pursue a bunch of different avenues. So I did a little while in landscaping. I did a bunch of time in construction. I've done HVAC. I've done machining. I've done blacksmithing. I've done carpentry and millwork and and a lot of stuff. Like I've been around, and that's the kind of my entire life of the pursuit has given me the confidence that I have now to be able to just say, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. Pardon my French. You can bleep me if you need to, Mike. And, and I'm just going to go for it. And then that's what I do. You know, there's like, you only get one chance. So why not make everything the best that you can? And if you fail, and that's fine because you learn. And you know, Dave, you've talked about that a bunch too. Like, you got to try it. You know, if you don't try it, you're not going to.
I just wish I lived it more.
Well, that is unfortunately a fate that we're left with as we watch the Christmas Carol, you know, all the time here at the season. And we look at that, and, you know, but you can't think about what was. You can only look at what is and what can be. Yeah. So try to work towards that.
Yeah. Well, your work's impressive, and
thank you,
Dave and I. We have a belief that, and we ought to make it a topic at some point. I mean, we vowed to, but all of us can learn and advance our skills. But there's like a separation of a certain smaller group of people that are true artists who have some innate thing that they see things differently, and they can get to some place that really I don't think a lot of us will ever aspire to. I mean, we can get maybe 80% of the way there. Okay. But I mean, you look at the classical musicians musicians of any genre, artists of any genre, or whatever. True. If everybody could play golf, we'd all be Tiger Woods.
Right.
And it just it doesn't work that way. And Brian, your work impresses me as one of those kind of next level things. Oh. It really does. I mean, it's stuff that I would never build, but I look at it and I go, "Holy crap, man! Are you kidding me?" It's brilliant. Your work's beautiful, and you ought to be proud of it if you're not.
Now, Brian, you have to send a check to Mike, just like we've been sending checks to other people. So now you owe Mike a check.
Hands down.
No, you don't.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. I'm just trying to do my best, man, to have fun, you know?
Well, if you're not doing your best, I can't wait to when you do.
Yeah, really.
Because it's going to be freaking absolutely killer. But
thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk to you next time. All
right.
All right, dude.
I got to go. You got me sheepish. All right.
All right. Take care.
He does good work, man.
He does. It's amazing.
Just call it like I see it, man.
Yeah. Well, he has, obviously, his mind's eye sees stuff that most people don't have that gift.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys will say, no, anybody can do it, but I don't know.
No.
I don't believe that for a minute.
I absolutely. You know, at the last National, I had that conversation with TJ.
I know.
And he doesn't know it. He really, really does not know it.
Well, yeah, we'll have that conversation. We'll work up that episode and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, that's the whole thing's been a special segment, and we're getting close to 2 hours here, man.
I know. So it's about time for shout outs and to wrap things up. You got any shout outs?
You're ahead of the outline there, brother.
Oh, didn't we model it? Didn't we wrap up the modeling fluid?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, we got to. Okay, Adam, how do you get in? Scroll up. I think there's some descriptions of. It's not 100% obvious, but if you want to try and get in, go ahead and do it while I talk about my modeling fluid. I had the Atomic Amber. Very good. Very drinkable, local. It is a more full-bodied version of your classic American beer, such as a Coors or Miller or whatever. Very drinkable. I enjoyed it a lot. So, Mike, how about you?
I wouldn't call either one of those you mentioned by comparison as an amber.
Well, yeah, you're right. You are right. But as far as anybody who's used to drinking mass market American beer will drink this and enjoy it. And it, like I said, it has more body than your classic American mass market beer, but it's in the ballpark as far as you won't be put off because of hoppiness or because of unusual flavors. It's very drinkable. I could see drinking that a lot in the summer, so I like it. How about you?
Well, the Michter's is some really good stuff.
It is.
Highly recommend it.
Yep.
And, the price was right. I got it for Christmas.
Here you go.
But I changed gears on the refill.
Okay.
I won't disclose.
That's all right.
But it's good. It's pretty good too. A lot different. But
what is the proof on the Michter's?
I can't remember, Dave. I didn't bring it down with me.
Okay, well, look in the show notes because it'll be there.
So don't let me forget.
I will not let you forget.
Well, the fluids are good this time, and sound like a few folks out there listening were having one as well. So
yes, which is all the better. Makes the conversation flow. Okay, now I'm not ahead, and we're doing shout outs of the month. So, Mike, do you have a shout out of the month or episode?
Well, I want to shout out all these fantastic Patreon and PayPal contributors. It's just real humbling to know folks out there give enough about what we're doing to actually throw a little coin our way and help us out along the way. And it's just, it's great. I can't wait to see what 2023 brings on all fronts, not just this one, but with folks like this is the reason we get to have a 2023 for the most part, because, we got some expenses to pay and all this just helps out along the way. And it's really great knowing we got the support.
And again, I have said this again and again. You and I did this. We started, I didn't know what to expect. And the community that built up around it has been just so surprising to me and such a joy. I mean, in the morning, I'm DMing with Dave Goldfinch in Australia about something middle of the day. I'm getting an email from Steve Hustad with pictures of his latest work that makes me want to cry and quit the hobby. Then in the evening, I'm responding to an email from somebody, a listener who sent in a question or a suggestion or stuff like. And then we go to a contest and we get to meet all these people. This has all been, none of that was nowhere in my mind when we started this was that even a consideration, and it turned out to be the best part of all of this.
What you said about that making this type of episode possible, and we've had a few hiccups along the way, and we'll figure it out. It's the first time we've ever done this, and in fact, I'm trying to get somebody in now who we really need to talk to. So,
I think he needs Google Chrome.
If he doesn't have Google Chrome, we may have a problem, but I'm going to send him an email right now for a direct.
I'm sending him a message. That's right.
Oh, Adam.
Mike, Dave.
Yay!
What's up?
Hey, good evening, gentlemen.
Well,
we worked hard to get you in here, man.
Well, I heard all the wonderful things you said, and if there was anything you said that was negative, it was when I had the app closed, so I'm not in any way affected.
No, we just said that Apple and Safari bite as far as doing this sort of thing.
It's just that thing of, now that I've seen it, I've got it. It's straight through on Chrome. Everything worked flawlessly, and it is now. So, look, I managed to have the. If you don't mind, I just want to say a couple of things real briefly.
Oh, absolutely.
The first thing is, I listened to the last 20, 25 minutes worth of discussion, and I thought this was great, and I really think that. As much as as I love the show and what it's doing, I think that this has just added such a unique dimension to it, because I wanted to talk briefly about the second thing that, and Mike might relate to this, being a 1/72nd scale armor modeler. But last night I tried a twosome, which I've never done in 50 years of modeling. Do you want me to describe how good that was to you?
All right.
So you've heard of S model, Mike, I'm sure.
Yes.
So anyway, I've got quite a collection of S model stuff, and there's different opinions about it. But last night I thought I'm going to try. I've never done this in 50 years. I'm going to build two models of the same thing simultaneously and see if I can better improve the assembly on the second one after doing the first. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm equally the same on each. But I had the advantage of I'm building the S model BMP1.
I love the BMP1.
Yep. Well, so I happen to be out of town at the moment. I'm actually in Las Vegas, away from Texas, and I know that at Battlefield Vegas that they had a BMP1, a 1-to-1 scale version. And So anyway, long story short, I'm building the BMP1 with the sagger on the front and everything on top of the main gun. And I thought, golly, I think there's one of those at Battlefield Vegas. So I zip over there today, and what do I find? Lo and behold, exactly the exact same subtype of BMP1 as the S model is built. So I managed to find one or two tiny errors with the kit, but for the most part, it's actually right on the money. And so I think it's the first time in all these years that I've ever done that, where I've had something in front of me that I've said, you know what, I'm going to go check out what the real one looks like just down the street. And anyway, highly recommend the BMP1 by S model. And have you guys tried that thing of building two of the same kit simultaneously?
I have not, but I will tell you that, Adam, every time I finish a model, one of the reactions I have is I want to build another one of the same kit, because now I understand all the things I should do differently. Now, I never do it, but I always have that inclination. Our friend Jeff Groves does this thing where he batch builds, 10 of the exact same model, or 10 of the different variations of the exact same prototype item. I greatly admire that. I could never do that. I'm a serial modeler, generally one thing at a time until it becomes a shelf queen, and then I start the next one.
Well, Steve Husted, he said it in about every segment we've done with him, is that he builds more than one at once as well.
Yes, he does.
And then we've got a guest coming up in mid-January that you'll hear about in the 12-minute model sphere that I suspect batch builds ME109s.
Yes.
My goodness. Yeah, there's something to be said for, either mixing the appropriate paints and all that kind of thing, right? There's something that I guess from a time standpoint is really helpful that way. But I even doing that last night with two of the same kit, I started to feel a bit of that production line kind of things slipping in, and I could see where, golly, I don't know how anyone could do 10. I mean, I like, geez, but anyway, have either of you had experience with the S model 1/72nd scale builds?
No, don't they do a BTR-4E, the Ukrainian vehicle?
Yep, they do a BTR-4. That's right.
I want to do that vehicle.
I've not. I've looked at them and considered them, but I primarily build 35th scale. So this 72nd scale is kind of new to me, but yeah, S model has certainly been one on the radar, as has, it was Planet, but now I think it's the resin kits mostly from Special Hobby.
Yeah.
special armor, I think they're even
Special
calling it
armor.
now, something like that. But
Yeah.
some really interesting stuff out there in 72nd scale, and it's all getting better too. That's the big thing. Especially some of the injection molded 72nd scale kits, the Flyhawk and oh God, what's the other one? It does the Panthers.
Vespid.
Vespid, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that stuff's it's getting good. It's getting impressive for that scale, and if you're want for space, that's they're making that a lot more viable option than it used to be. Well, Adam, let me back up a little bit. You say you're from Texas, but that's not a Texas accent you've got.
Come on. That's a classic Texas accent.
Yeah, no. So originally from Australia, a long time ago now.
No.
Yeah. So I cut my teeth on Matchbox and Airfix and all that back in the day. I think if I'm off the top of my head, I remember the first build that I could clearly remember doing was the Airfix ME262 in 1/72 scale.
Oh.
In the blue plastic, and
Yes.
and being completely like, in the end, I didn't put the landing gear on, and it wasn't for the fact that the kit didn't have landing gear. It was the fact that I didn't have the skills to actually, or the patience, that's probably it, the patience to let the half a tube of Airfix glue that I'd stuck on the underside to actually make the landing gear sit. But I still remember very vividly sitting on its Jumo jets and thinking, well, I've made one in flight, and I hung it up from the ceiling. But the one I truly remember, the first time I ever built a model and I thought, man, that looks really good. Now, okay, it was a relative statement, was probably a year or two later, and it was a Matchbox Focke-Wulf 190. And you remember the old Matchbox kits used to come in 2 colors and 3 colors, you know?
Yes.
Yep.
And they gave you the painting instructions for, obviously, if you wanted to do the full aircraft or you wanted to partially do it, you know, they would tell you And I did the partially do it, as you do when you're 9 years old, right? And I to this day, I still reckon that Airfix Focke-Wulf 190 is one of the nicest little 72nd scale kits out there. So I started with those, and to me, 135th was always like the Hasegawa stuff. That was always couldn't afford that, and that was clearly the big stuff. But I think we all grew up with that stuff.
Well, Adam, one more thing I want to mention is that we met you face to face in Las Vegas at the IPMS National Convention for 2021. And this idea was actually a suggestion you made that we should do a call-in show. And it's taken a year and a half to get to where we could actually pull this off. But for the first one, I've got to edit a little bit, but a handful of folks have already heard this live and have called in. We've had some good conversations, some good laughs, and I'm so glad you got in because I don't know, maybe this would have come to us at some point, but maybe somebody would have beat us to it. So you put this bug in our ear to try to do this and thought this would be a good idea, and I thought it would be a good idea too. I just at the time didn't know how to do it. And we got there, and I didn't say anything about it until I sent those emails out. I mean, for a year and a half, I've kept this under wraps because I didn't want anybody else to do it. And,
so, Adam, he's saying it's all your fault.
Okay, all right. Well, I think that one of the things that the hobby struggles with a little bit is inclusivity of people. Right, it's a solitary hobby for the most part. When you're at the bench, right, it's, you're not really engaged in a conversation with half a dozen people. But listening to the way the show's gone over the last couple of years, I mean, it just adds something different. If you think about, and you probably already have, like having some of the vendors, some of the suppliers and manufacturers come on. I mean, experts in all these different fields and such. I mean, there's just so much information that can be put out there, and just the conviviality of having a group of people that all have the same thing. I mean, I was fascinated listening, to the last half an hour. Like, it's just really cool, so full credit, to both of you for getting it to where it is now. And it's cutting edge stuff. And I mean that sincerely.
Well, thank you.
Thank
all
you so
credit
much.
to Mike. I mean, seriously.
Being an Aussie in Texas, I assume we will see you in San Marcos, barring no scheduling difficulties.
Oh no! You know what? I had 4 devices simultaneously on the hit reservation button come midnight back 3 months ago, and I hit all 4 simultaneously because I thought, what's the worst that can happen, right? And 12:03 was the first one, and then half a second later, another one popped up. So I managed to palm that one off to somebody else, and we were good. So absolutely. So yeah, I was going to make that no matter what. But anyway, guys, look, I know you've got to wrap it up, but thank you very much for your time, and all the best with the show. And this is really wonderful.
Thanks for the idea. Appreciate it very much.
Cheers.
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 All right, Dave.
Yeah.
We shouted out.
We shouted out, man. I think Mike, whenever you try something new technologically, you're always worried. And we did a minor test with this, but we had no idea how it was going to go. And it really seems to have gone well. And I got to say, I'm thrilled, and I'm glad you technologically got us to the point with the right software that could get us here. So,
well, we'll do it again.
Yeah. So
I mean,
there's no question.
Definitely going to put at least one of these on the schedule for 2023. So thanks to everybody who did call in. Thanks to everybody who was out in the audience who didn't or couldn't for technical reasons. I'll try to put together a little bit better notes section. Maybe we'll put in the listener notes, or
sure,
we'll put on the dojo. Maybe it's a pinned thing, so folks can see what they need to do to get in, because we've got 2 major operating systems out there in the world, and platforms are built to favor one versus the other usually, and that's just the way it is right now, and it's probably always going to be that way. But we got Adam on, which I really want to do, because absolutely, folks, this was the suggestion he made at the IPMS National Convention in Las Vegas.
I remember
Nevada. How about, why don't you do a call-in show? And I'm like, well, I could think technically why we don't, but conceptually, no, it's a very good idea. So have our own little version of Car Talk.
There you go.
Well, Dave, we're at the end of this, man.
I know. You know what they say. So many kids.
So little time, Dave. Happy New Year. We'll see you in the new year, man.
Happy New Year, Mike.
All right.